In this video, we're going to look at properties of exponents. Right, and you may know a lot of these properties already, but the key thing of what we're going to talk about is why these properties work. Alright, so the first one, we have x squared times x to the fourth. Right? What's the answer to this? Well, let's think about what this means. X squared is the same thing as x times x, and x to the fourth is x times x times x times x. Right? So I have 6 factors of x there. So this is the same thing as x to the 6th. Okay? And you may notice that the shortcut, or the property, is that these exponents, you could add them. 2 plus 4 is 6. But I want you to really understand that this is not an addition problem. This is really a multiplication problem. Right? So when I have x squared times x to the fourth, this means I have 2 factors of x, 4 factors of x, so that's a total of 6 factors of x. Right? This one, number 2, I have 3 squared x cubed times 3 to the 5th x squared. All right. Well, on this one, I'm going to go ahead and reorganize this a little bit. So first thing, let's remember this, we can change the order of our multiplication. So this is the same thing as saying 3 squared times 3 to the 5th times x cubed times x squared. Right? And then what does 3 to the 2nd mean? That means 3 times 3. 3 to the 5th means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. X cubed means x times x times x, and then x squared means x times x. All right? So altogether, I could simplify this as 3 to the 7th power, because there are 7 factors of 3. And then for the x's, there are 5 factors of x. So this would be 3 to the 7th power times x to the 5th power. Okay, and you could have seen, and hopefully this shows you why the shortcut that is often taught is that you can add these exponents. 3 squared times 3 to the 5th is 3 to the 7th. X cubed times x squared is x to the 5th. Right? And the key thing is why. Right? And it's because of the factors that you have. 3 squared times 3 to the 5th means that there are 7 factors of 3. Or x cubed times x squared means there are 5 factors of x. Alright, go ahead and try these on your own. Please pause and try these on your own. Alright, your answer should be, for number 3, m to the 7th. Right? Because you have 3 factors of m times 4 factors of m. So that's m to the 7th. Number 4, your answer should be 10 x to the 6th y to the 4th. Right? And I'll show this one. Right? Again, this one, if I rearrange this, it's the same thing as saying 2 times 5 times x to the 4th times x squared times y cubed times y. 2 times 5 is 10. X to the 4th times x squared, that's x to the 6th, because that would be 6 factors of x. Y cubed times y, that's y to the 4th, because that would be 4 factors of y. Alright, x squared to the 4th power. Well, what does this mean? Alright, well, this 4 outside here, that means I need 4 factors of what's inside here, x squared. So I need 4 factors of x squared. So this would be x squared times x squared times x squared times another x squared. 4 factors of x squared. Right? Well, what do each of these individual pieces mean? X squared means x times x, and then I have another x times x, another x times x, and another x times x. How many factors of x do I have? That's 8 factors of x. This is x to the 8th. Okay, and you probably realize that the property is that these exponents can multiply. Okay, but more important than that is I want you to see why. Right? So x squared to the 4th, we have 4 factors of x squared, and each of those has 2 factors of x in it, so that's 8 factors of x total. Go ahead and pause and try to do these two. Welcome back. Here's what you should have. M cubed squared. You should have m to the 6th power. All right, let's show why. This is because we'd have m cubed times m cubed. right? This means 2 factors of whatever's in here. So m cubed times m cubed, and m cubed means m times m times m times m times m times m for the second one. So there's 6 total factors of m. 7. Your answer on this one should be 8x to the 12th. All right, let me show you why on this one. Right? What does this mean? We have 3 factors of this. So we have 3 factors of 2x to the 4th. So 2x to the 4th times 2x to the 4th times 2x to the 4th. Right? And if I rearrange that, that would be 2 times 2 times 2 times x to the 4th times x to the 4th times x to the 4th. Right? 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. X to the 4th times x to the 4th times x to the 4th, that's x to the 12th. 4 factors, another 4 factors, another 4 factors, 12 factors of x. All right. What about division ones? X to the 6th divided by x squared. Right? Well, I'm going to show the work on this one. What does this mean? This means x times x times x times x times x times x divided by 2 factors of x. Right? And recall that right here I have x divided by x. Well, that's equal to 1 over 1. Again, right here, x divided by x. Well, that's equal to 1 over 1. Right? Those divide out. So what do we have left? We have 4 factors of x on top over 1, and that's just the same thing as x to the 4th. Number 9, what do we have here? We have 3 factors of x on top divided by 5 factors of x on the bottom. Right? Again, every time we have x over x, this is equal to 1 over 1. Right here, this is 1 over 1. We have 1 over 1. So this would be equal to 1 on top. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. On the bottom, I have 1 times 1 times 1 times x times x. So we end up with 2 factors of x on the bottom. We have 1 over x squared. All right, I want you to pause and go ahead and try these two. Here's your answer. For number 10, you should have an answer of x to the 4th. Right? Let's show that. This is x times x times x times x times x times x times x on top. Right? Did I miss one? I missed one. Over x times x times x times x. Right? And these will divide out. This will be all 1 over 1 for all of these. Right? And all we have left are 4 factors of x on top. So that's x to the 4th over 1, which is the same thing as x to the 4th. Okay? So you probably are realizing that the shortcut is that you can subtract. 8 minus 4 is 4. Right? Let's look at number 11. Right? Here's what you should have gotten on that one. The answer should be this. 4/10 reduces to 2/5. And then x to the 5th divided by x squared is going to be x cubed on the top. And then y cubed divided by y to the 4th, right? You end up with 1 over y, or in other words, having y on the bottom. Okay? Now, if you want to see that one worked out, I'll do that real fast. This is 4, and then we have 5 factors of x, 3 factors of y. On the bottom we have 10, 2 factors of x, and 4 factors of y. Okay? So these divide out. These divide out. Those all become 1. Right? So we end up with, let me write it over here, 4x cubed over 10y. And then don't forget, this 4/10, you can just reduce that. 4/10 is the same thing as 2/5. So 2x cubed over 5y. Okay. All right, one last one. 3x to the negative 4th, y to the negative 2nd, over x to the negative 2nd, x to the negative 6th, y to the 4th. All right, when you're dealing with something like this, I want you to think back about what happens with negative exponents. Right here I have x to the negative 4th. Right, and we talked about how, what does that really represent? that doesn't represent multiplying by 4 factors of x. That represents dividing 4 factors of x. So x to the fourth really should be on the bottom, right? Or in other words, x to the negative fourth on top is the same thing as having x to the positive fourth on the bottom, right? And it's because this negative exponent means it's the opposite of multiplication. We're dealing with division, right? And the same thing with this y to the negative second. That means that I'm going to have 2 factors of y that are being divided on the bottom. Okay, and let's see, this y to the fourth, that's just going to stay on the bottom. What about this x to the negative sixth? Well, if I'm dividing by this, right, that really means that it's going to end up being on the top. Okay, so x to the negative 6 on the bottom is the same thing as having x to the positive 6 on the top. All right, so I would deal with your negative exponents first, and then let's simplify. Right, we've got 3, and then let's think about this. What is x to the 6th divided by x to the 4th? Right, well that is x squared on the top. And then down here, y squared times y to the 4th is y to the 6th. So your answer is this, 3x squared over y to the 6th.